Gonna die.
I needed that.
Mhm.
All right. Hello and welcome to Two Girls Talk Transits. Today we're reviewing the astrology from December 7th through December 13th, 2025. And we're your host. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Kaleigh.
So welcome back. We have a little bit more activity this month, but it's like all pretty much with Mercury almost.
Hmm.
We're going to start off on Sunday that Mercury, as it started to last week when it trine Jupiter, it's completing that water trine this Sunday to Saturn in Pisces. And that's like, it's just the last bit of this. We had so much of this in like November with Venus, and then again in like October when it first happened before Mercury went retrograde. And then we reviewed it with Mercury retrograde. So I wonder if this is just the last like little bit of emotional peace or emotional understanding from the Mercury retrograde, but also from like Scorpio season and onwards as to like, what deeper feelings have you been working through in your life? Like what harder things have you been working through? What deeper emotions have been brought up? What has that been like expanding for you with Jupiter? But then with Saturn is like, what is that inviting you to redirect or change in some way? Or like, what structure has to be let go of, or what boundary do you need to be more clear on now that we're past this? This is like the final realization from the Mercury retrograde that was all of November, I feel like.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think that like in November we had a lot of Mercury and Scorpio, so we had a lot of time to like process things in the Scorpio house. So I do think that maybe it meeting Saturn here again is like the opportunity to like solidify, like you kind of mentioned, like to solidify what you had learned or the information you had gathered or what you had worked through, and then like put that into like maybe like compartmentalize that in your mind. Like, okay, this is what I learned, and I'm more mentally solidified on this thought process that I've gained throughout that process, if that makes sense. It's like coming out with like I feel like it's like clarity. It's like mental clarity. Like you're like, okay, like this makes sense to me now. It was confusing, but now it's like I understand what happened there and how I want to move forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. I couldn't remember when we were talking before the episode, but like last week I talked a lot about like with the full moon in Gemini being a point of like really big clarity too,
Hmm.
because Mercury being direct and like just the movement away with Venus being in Sagittarius, which is gonna feel so much better.
Yeah.
Um, I do feel like this Mercury retrograde was just so personal to everybody almost. Like everyone, it wasn't like, oh, the literal messages got changed or like, what I'm presenting to the world has changed, but it's more like everyone had like personal themes that they were reviewing within themselves or within their lives. And like, that's emotions often, and emotions change your perspective on life like they do in terms of like what you believe in or what you feels good to you, what doesn't feel good to you. So yeah, I like the moment of clarity is like coming through your personal emotions and like the way that you use your emotions to project out into life and like understand your life too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it like tracks with that saying like emotions create thoughts and then thoughts create behavior. It's
Right.
like whatever emotions like we had sparked some type of thoughts and then yeah. Um, but yeah, for sure I could definitely see a lot of clarity coming through, especially like you mentioned with Mercury being direct now. It's like we're done with review and like ready to move forward.
Yeah, it's like this week is like the final week of like all the last pieces of information that you didn't have before.
Hmm.
You get it now. And like you're able to, with especially the Saturn piece, like see what work is left because the work never ends. So like what do you still have left to do then?
Yeah, but it almost feels like I think it feels a little bit better too. Like also with Saturn being direct, it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as like limited, like work that I've already done before and like I'm rolling my eyes at. It's like, we can move forward in a way or feel like, the work that we are doing is paying off in some way.
Yeah. I would like to feel that in Pisces. I don't feel that in my Pisces house yet, but
Not
hopefully I
yet.
will. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe can you see like the end? Like is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
No, honestly, I was hoping a lot of things that I was expecting response from, like with Saturn stationing direct, I did not get. So I don't know. We're
Oh.
still early recording this. I mean, Saturn, when we were recording this, Saturn stationing direct like 3 days ago, but
Yeah. I think for me, like I'm starting to see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. Like Saturn rules travel and career for me, and
yeah.
also like higher education. And like I'm about to graduate. I'm traveling tomorrow, and I think potentially getting a new job at some point. So I feel like a lot of like the Saturnian limitations are wrapping up, at least for me personally. Um,
Maybe I just don't see it yet, right? Then,
yeah.
because it's like in my eighth house, which is like I'm relying on other people to finish this.
Well, you
You
also said
know,
that Mars is squaring your Saturn today, so that's probably not
yeah,
good
that's true.
feelings. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I still feel like Saturn and Pisces has a lot more to do for me. Like I'm like, TikTok, you gotta get on this, but it's
Yeah, I
fine.
can get that. Yeah, I get that. So, anything else about that?
No, we can move on.
Okay, so the following day, even though we may get some like mental clarity, we do have Mars working up to a square with that Saturn in Pisces. So Mars and Sag will square that Saturn. So even though you might have had some clarity on like direction or goals, you might be feeling like I think even me and Maddie talked about this before. We just even mentioned it, like Mars is squaring her Saturn today, and I feel like a lot of the times when we have challenging aspects between Mars and Saturn can lead to like burnout because it's like this feeling of like I have so much to get done, but I'm limited by time or um I'm limited by energy in some way because Mars can like really represent like our energetic force, our like life force and like what we have to utilize throughout the day. Um so we just can feel like limited in some way like, oh, I know how I want to move forward, but maybe I don't know. I'm blocked in this way, but this is kind of pertaining to a different area of life because it is in Sagittarius instead of Scorpio. So, yeah, I think maybe there are some limitations with action as it pertains to your Sagittarius ruled house. Can even be like Sagittarius if we like look at it broader, which is what Sagittarius loves to do because it's ruled by Jupiter. It can even be like limitations or misunderstanding, like limitations on travel or misunderstanding of information. Um, like not really vibing with people based off of beliefs. Um, yeah, things like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking like Mars and Sagittarius really wants to like take action, right? Like because of a belief or because of a vision or because of something that's like exciting and adventurous and like those Sagittarius keywords of like freedom and like wanting more fun and wanting more play. Like that's what Mars and Sag wants to do, right? So if it's doing that, it's moving through Sagittarius and we have a lot of energy of Sagittarius, so that's like a big point of our lives. And then it runs into this square with Saturn that it's like, you know, they're both ruled by Jupiter. So like you can't even like isolate that, they're like
Hmm.
so like what's the other side of Jupiter's like philosophical person that loves its vision and its theory and all that? It's like the empathetic collective humanity side, right, of Jupiter. So it's like, yeah, you have this really beautiful big vision for yourself. Are you thinking about other people? Like, are you thinking about the collective or like the environment that you're in? Or like maybe it's something as small as your family, but like, are you thinking about the impact? Or are you just like bulldozing? And then like
Hmm.
Saturn and Pisces can be like this like douse of cold water onto Mars, where it's like you have a great idea, sure, but it's not actually helpful for humanity at this time, or it's not helpful for your long-term universal collective goals or such that you're a part of. You know,
Hmm.
it's like a
Yeah.
warfare within your mind spiritually. Sometimes, like, I really want this, but maybe it's not the time for this.
Yeah, like you said, like, yeah, maybe it's not good for like the collective or, the people in your life. I definitely could see that, like about Jupiterian things. Like you get so carried away by this idea of like futuristic thinking and expansion that sometimes you leave people behind and it can like really be hard or hurtful,
And
So,
in
yeah.
the other side of that, it's just like Jupiter and Pisces are the people that don't chase over their vision or don't do much with their own personal world because they are so deeply wrapped up in relationships and the other people in their
Hmm.
world. I just have a lot of friends with Jupiter and Pisces. It's like easy for me to see this with them, but they all like really do seek out that emotional support through relationships, not through philosophical theory and
Mm.
not through their own beliefs about life. They seek it through what is everyone else feeling and how do I fit into that. So, like, those two conflicts kind of come louder. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was not Jupiter in the sense it's Mars and Saturn, so it's a little more harsher. It's not as nice as that like reflection. It's more like, I really want this, and everyone around you is like, this is just a terrible idea, and you're not thinking of me, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, which can be very like Sagittarius, like you mentioned, kind of like
Yeah.
self-focused a bit. Yeah. Interesting. I like that interpretation though.
Yeah. So harder like moment, I think it's like we're seeing a lot of Saturn just these 2 days where we're seeing a restriction of some sort of like a like something that is just holding us back. And Mercury is like becoming aware of it, but Mars is like trying to fight it. Like, okay, I know this is a limitation, but I want past it.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like I wanted to
Yeah.
be over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So it can be a little bit of a mentally, I think, a little bit of a frustrating period of time these 2 days for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. So that was Monday.
Yes. And then on the 10th, which is
Wednesday.
Wednesday, first on the list is Neptune is going to station direct finally. And like I said, it never left 29 degrees of Pisces. So really it's just been like on that
Chilling.
border. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the last thing we'll have of Neptune in our lifetime. Pisces, this last bit, it will move into Aries. I didn't look on the exact date. It was like early February, late January.
Okay.
Um, I'm pretty sure it's like February 1st. But that's it. And so I am looking forward to that. But then, it's like our last little bit of lesson of humanity too around like compassion and empathy, I think. Neptune and Pisces has been a lot of that.
Yeah, I've actually thought about Neptune and Pisces a lot and how like things have become popularized with
Mhm.
like the spiritual, like it was like Neptune and Pisces was a lot of like the boom of like spiritual coaching and like retreats and like
Hmm.
yoga in the West at least and all of this like healing modality stuff. So I'm like
Yeah.
super interested to see once like Neptune officially goes into Aries what kind of becomes of that. Um
Yeah.
yeah, if like all these like spiritual things will be as popular as they once were.
Or if they'll just become more like they'll forget their roots, right? Of like being loving and compassion and become like a vehicle for like warfare and like
Like,
putting your
yeah.
own, fighting people because they don't believe the same thing that you believe.
Yeah, like Neptune in Aries is like kind of reminds me of like when the church becomes deceitful. It's like,
Yeah.
that it's like the hi history of like the Catholic Church of like kind of shielding things and, trying to control things in one way or another, to meet its own needs instead of actually being about spirituality.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
forgetting the real purpose and yeah, I don't know. Will be interesting. But shorter term, Neptune going direct on this day, and Mercury is aspecting it too, which is the same day. Do you just want
Oh
to throw
yeah,
that
I'll
in
draw that
now?
one. Yeah.
Yeah, we can just throw it in now. Just because I think the fact that Neptune is direct, that always ponates that planet for the
Mhm.
week. And then we also have the messenger planet interacting with us trine to Neptune and opposite Uranus on the same day. Like, I just think confusion is going to be such a significant theme going into this week, which makes sense when we've hit like these restrictions with Saturn, with Mars, and now we're like, how do we move forward? Can we move forward? You know, how do you feel about it?
Sorry, I muted myself and I was thinking. Um, yeah, yep. Say it again. I'm sorry. I was like trying to draw the aspects and I was like, wait, what?
You had it draw the trine back to Neptune.
Okay.
I was just saying that because one, the Neptune stationing direct, like that makes that planet really loud. And then we're having the messenger planet make an aspect to it as well as be opposite Uranus. There's just a heightened confusion going into this week. And
For
then
sure.
also
Yeah.
because like Mars is squaring Saturn, we're like being limited in some way and then probably confused on what direction to actually go now.
Yeah, could definitely see. Yeah, like you mentioned, like right when like Neptune stations is like when it's the most potent energy or when it's the loudest. So I could definitely see like that air of confusion kind of casting a spell over more of the week. And like Mercury is like working up towards that aspect with Neptune. So I think that makes it like kind of um like active for like a couple days. So yeah, I definitely think that we will experience some of like that Neptunian, yeah, confusion. We have like you said, limitation from Mars and Saturn and then confusion from Neptune. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's interesting though too because we talked about like all that clarity at the beginning of the week, you know. So and then
Well,
like we
it's
run into
like,
confusion.
well, it may be some confusion, but it is also opposite Uranus. So I wonder if it is like some clarity. You make a decision to change, you run into some restrictions to change. You keep trying to make that decision to change or that decision to move forward, and then it just runs into these disruptions. And like those disruptions themselves cause confusion because technically Mercury is going to be opposite Uranus first before it trines Neptune.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be like a blind faith kind of thing too, like having to move forward with limitations and like blind faith,
Oh,
but
for
doing it
sure.
anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's so Pisces, right? Like you have to be able to trust that this is working out the way that it needs to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but you don't know how that is going to look.
No, you don't. You definitely don't, especially
No,
with
I
like
think
that Mars Saturn. Yeah.
in Uranus. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough week, honestly. It's kind of ex unstable.
Yeah. It is for sure. Yeah, and then following we have Mercury entering Sag. Did you want to say anything else about that before I move forward?
No.
So I bumped this ahead a day. Mercury actually enters Sag on Thursday. It's probably like in the evening.
Hmm.
Um, the only thing about this is, and we had talked about this a couple weeks ago when Mercury had first entered Sag, but then it went retrograde. So Mercury in Sag is just Mercury in detriment. So like the information is not as clear as it could be. You could be focused on like bigger picture ideas than on details. And sometimes that's not a bad thing, but sometimes you do miss the details. And then, that ends up being like an important part of whatever it is that you're doing. Um, so I would just be like cautious of like information during this time, and also like your Virgo and Gemini ruled houses don't have as much strength as they would otherwise, because they're being ruled by this like detriment Mercury. Um, so yeah, I would just plan for like knowing that things in those houses probably aren't going to be as strong as they otherwise would be. Like for me, for example, uh in my Mercury, sorry, like Gemini rules my second house and then Virgo rules my fifth. So maybe like I'm not paying as much details to finances as I should be. Like I'm going with like blind faith, like ruled this Mercury ruled by Jupiter. Oh, everything's going to be okay. I don't really have to think about the details of finances. That would be very much like an expression of this energy. Yeah, what do you think?
We have like one planet, not an immutable sign right now. Like
Not an
inner
immutable
planet.
sign. Yeah, you're right.
Uh,
And
it's the
Ju
ruler. Jupiter
yeah,
is only
Jupiter.
making it worse.
Yeah.
Um,
Lord.
because he's exalted.
Hmm.
I mean, this is more so for the next week, but I mean the rest of this week until the 15th, which is when Mars will leave Sag. I don't know. I'm just like all that Sag energy. We have Mercury here, we have Venus here, we have the Sun, and we have Mars, and then we have Saturn squaring it, and we have it all ruled by an exalted Jupiter. Like, I just think that this just like, it's just giving people like a lot of, for one, Mercury and Sag is a lot of misinformation. It is a lot of things being said just because it feels right, but it is not actually factually right.
Hmm.
And when we have all the Sagittarius energy, it's just giving some really big visionary leader who's like, I'm going to
Yeah.
save you. Trust me, follow my path.
It's giving like belief in self without like the facts to
Yeah.
back it up. Yeah.
And like gaslighting, like major gaslighting, like, oh, well, everything is fine. You just don't know. You just don't believe like I do. You don't have the truth that I have, the truth, you
Hmm.
know?
For
Um,
sure. Yeah.
I just don't like all these planets in Sagittarius at once.
Yeah. It's a lot. I mean, any babies born during this time is definitely gonna be
Interesting.
like, yeah, Sag, stellium. Yeah, Sag, stellium baby. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're right. Like, I think too, like my grandma's a Sag. She must have a
Mm-hmm.
Sag Mercury too, because she like can hop on her soapbox and like she does not leave room for interpretation or anybody else's
Right.
like input. It's just listen to what I have to say because what I have to say is truth and correct. And yeah, it reminds me of like all that Sag that you just spoke of. But yeah, also too, I think what is notable is I think there will be maybe a lot of themes of Sag coming up, like this like need for freedom, for like expansion, for joy, and like
Yeah.
um, you know, the reason I think that Sag can be so joyful too is because they have the ability to miss the details and like tune out like things that might be important because they're thinking about like the bigger picture. Like would be like the quote like laughter is the best medicine, like they're just like trying to have fun and forget about the small things.
Like ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so it's definitely going to be like a turn from Scorpio season where it's like Scorpio was more maybe like hyper fixated and like focused on like what we're feeling. Sag can like lift that emotional energy and make it more like go with the flow, I guess I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think I just think when we have like Saturn in Pisces, also in a Jupiter ruled house, it's just like the flow isn't where, necessarily like the flow is a distraction, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
to just forget about the details and to forget how everything happens, you're able to kind of be manipulated or you're able to kind of be pushed, and the real reality of everything is way over here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like with that Neptune stuff we had going on too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there could definitely be like a detachment from reality, I think. Um, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think it will be just something to watch out for, I think. And because the last aspect, then on the 13th, which is the Saturday, is when Mercury will sextile Pluto and Aquarius. And again, it's just like there's some power from the words that are being said, but you don't maybe know if they're like truthful or not, or know if they're like factual, or like the basis that's why these things are being said is not really, a solid foundation. I just don't know. It just seems like there's like a little bit of control, manipulation, um, and maybe some more intensity around, well, I really believe this and that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just kind of riding that wave right now.
Yeah. I definitely see this week like ridden with like religious dogma. Like I think
Yeah.
we're gonna be like fed a lot of like this is what's right or wrong based off of the Bible or based off of um any other religious contexts. I don't know. But
Well, it's also like, December is like a lot of earnings reports or like economic stuff comes out too,
hmm
like, and that can really easily be like, manipulated or not clear or like
right.
just used for some control too.
Yeah. Yes. Well, the good
Yeah.
thing is though is Mercury will pick up speed, so I don't think it'll be in
Yes.
Sag for like a ton of
He
time.
won't. No, not too
Yeah.
long. And now we're just gonna have a huge Capricorn stellium in late December, January, which I don't know is worse or better, but
Right, and then it's time to get really serious. So, I
I
mean,
know. At
at
least we're
least
having fun.
I know that's what I was gonna say. Like at least now, like everything is ruled by Jupiter, so I think there
Yeah.
will be like that desire to like have fun and let go and like that go with the flow, like I mentioned before. Because I do think like when things start bumping into Capricorn, it's gonna be like more structured and serious. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I guess, yeah, I was a little negative on this, but just like have fun with it. Just don't do anything. You don't be so aggressive about it. That's all. Just have fun, but like be mindful too.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's the week ahead.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
you want more content from us, then you can follow us on Instagram or TikTok. And Two Girls Talk Transits, and the video is on YouTube. And we will see y'all next week.
See you.
Bye.